My people were biologically determined for one purpose alone, to sense the coming of damn fine podcasts. I sense it coming now.
Hello and welcome to a Discovery Home Companion. Your home for Discovery companionship and whatnot and everything else as we are kicking off into Season 2 of Star Trek Discovery. My name is Wade Bowen, and not with me are James and Hugh because they didn't want to be, and we had a thing on the Patreon. If we got $500 a month, they would be beholden and forced to come back, but we didn't anticipate that happening, and it didn't, and James and Hugh are therefore breathing a sigh of relief, I believe. But I'm bought in to this Star Trek shit for whatever it is. And so we're still doing a Discovery Home Companion, but going to try things a little bit differently this season. Instead of immediately watching an episode and then us getting hysterical about how much we hated it or whatnot, I realize that, you know what, I'm just too close to it. I'm running too hot. It's too close to the chest for me. I can't be objective anymore, so I have brought in a ragtag crew of people that I don't believe give two shits about Star Trek or didn't before.
Well, I mean, wait till you're introduced. Oh, okay.
Yeah, get back. I'm the one holding the reins here, and I will not be
usurped.
Yes, or disrespected.
Yeah, there you
go. With me tonight, or this afternoon, or whenever you're listening, I have with me two good friends of mine. Well, that guy that you just heard is Glen Hall.
Hello. I was just gonna say, let's be real, we're scabs. Like we're the
yeah. Right outside my window, there's a giant inflatable rat. And then scab number 2, another good friend of mine that I've got here is Sean Perrotta.
Hello. Scab number 2 is my only IMDb credit. So this is great. And listen, I know I'm supposed to be the Star Trek noob, but aren't we? We're red shirts, aren't we?
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
What you guys call them?
Yes. You're both totally disposable, and don't forget it.
Yeah. Though, not to get ahead of ourselves, but the one notable death on the episode, not a red shirt at all.
Oh yeah, they were really playing some tricks on you, leading you one.
They're playing some games.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I was curious about that. So that guy, was he a regular on the last season?
No.
Okay, but because
we'll get into Evan Connolly.
Okay, I'll pause until we.
I got some thoughts, but yeah,
I have lots of questions.
So many questions.
Oh, and I might have answers, and I might have. Yeah, nobody knew what the fuck they were doing here. Oh no, let's not fall into old habits here on my end. Yes, I know Glen and Sean. We've done comedy together in New York. Glen does a monthly show with me out in Queens where we play D&D with guests and comedians. QE D&D with Glen and Wade. So that's a quick background. I don't know if y'all want to say anything more about yourselves or.
No, I mean I would plug the show too. So yeah, if you live in Queens, go to QED and check out our D&D show. But other than that, I'm just happy to be on here chatting with my buds about a new show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think really the only the most relevant background is that we are nerds.
Yes.
But this is not our domain.
Yeah, for sure.
If you want to hear somebody talk about Wheel of Time ad nauseum, Glen's your guy.
I was just gonna say Wheel of Time and Batman. If it's either of those subjects, then I got you covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Fast and the Furious, and I don't know, just a wide variety of video game nerd stuff is really more my area of expertise.
Sure. But yeah, now you can add. I'm on a Star Trek podcast.
This is great. My nerd cred just went up so much.
Seriously, yeah, this is like a rite of passage.
This is great.
Come someday, everyone in the nerd world has to at least appear on a Star Trek related podcast. That's just
right.
I feel like
this is our Law and Order.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes, that's a perfect analogy.
Right. Yeah. We're not that close to Veronica Osario, so we won't be on hers. But
No, we are. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll say like so really the only Star Trek I've seen is the Chris Pine movies, which I know for the serious Trek fans are not a good representation of their universe, their preferred version of this property.
I mean, there's a wide diversity in Star Trek fans. Some of them,
I don't want to generalize.
yeah. I mean, Star Trek's all about diversity. You know, there's the old school people that are like, not my Kirk, and then the Kelvin controversy with all the lens flare movies. But then you go back to the 90s, and people will argue that Rick Berman ruined Star Trek, and that's
right. I don't know who that is.
Is that
exactly?
Because I was gonna say I know Ron Moore was involved with TNG.
Yeah, he was a writer on TNG and Deep Space Nine.
Okay,
and he wrote a lot of the movies.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, no, but historically, me, whose voice just cracked.
We're just gonna move past it. Just keep going. It's great.
Yeah. On the podcast, like Star Trek is Star Trek. I like those Kelvin movies. Fine enough for what they were.
Right. They're action movies.
Yeah, exactly.
They're with a Star Trek coat of paint on them.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies. Yeah, they don't really add anything to any interpretations of Sherlock Holmes, but they're fun steampunky action movies with, like you said, Sean, the coat of paint of a property people enjoy.
Right. And then there's also your realm of Star Trek nerds that will argue that that's what Discovery is as well.
Okay.
I can see that.
Well, yes,
that makes some degree of sense to me, and I'll be curious to hear how you feel about it, knowing where you stand on Star Trek.
Yeah. So that's ostensibly why I wanted to bring y'all in, because y'all can come in with fresh, innocent eyes, and yeah. So I guess before we jump into this episode in specific, I'm just wondering in general. This is the big burning question that I've been wanting to ask y'all since I made you watch it
At gunpoint, no less.
Yeah. Under
duress.
Yes.
Yeah, did CBS give you a cut of a finder's fee for 2 much needed subscriptions to All Access?
Oh yeah. They just loved all the coverage that we gave them last season, where we were just hysterical about how much we disliked it. That they're like, this is the kind of criticism that we want. And
we need more from them.
Yeah.
Did you guys? Are you guys on commercials or no commercials?
I'm on no commercials, but I just have the free trial at the moment, so
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I'll switch over.
Right. The commercials are okay. It's really like they're not long. It's pretty short, and they're not too cumbersome.
Okay,
That's good. Yeah. Last year with season 1 of Discovery, that app just fucking sucked so bad.
I believe it.
That I just I can't. And now I'm going through Amazon, and I was like,
It's better.
fine, I'll
Yeah, I did that too. I did through Amazon, and it's worked out. It's functionally.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a year, so it's been a while, so I assume that they've done some work on the back end to make the app a little bit more stable.
Yeah, I'm Chromecasting from the app, and I had no issue. I thought it worked. It worked fine.
Good to hear. Glad you're getting your shit together, CBS, and yes. But yeah, again, the burning question. Hey, what'd y'all think? Did y'all like this, or what'd you think?
Yeah, I think I liked it. So just to clarify for those listening, and I think this is true for Sean, but for me, definitely, this is the first episode of Discovery I watched, period. I haven't seen any of the first season, so I really, going in as fresh as can be.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, so my take was, overall, I did like it. It's a very, that's the first and foremost reaction I had, was that the production value was way better than I was expecting it to be. I was expecting something, Agents of
Star Trek.
Yeah, Star Trek, and more recently, shows like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or any of the CW shows, pick any of the genre shows that have kind of cropped up in the last couple of years.
Yeah,
and for regardless of their quality, I feel like there has kind of been a common thread of the production value. You kind of look the other way if you like a show on one of these shows, on the production value front. If you're watching The Flash, it's I know the effects aren't great, but there's other stuff to like. But on this show, it legitimately felt like movie caliber. So I was actually very pleasantly surprised on that front. And then just overall, I felt it seems like they have a good kind of baseline setup. Because like Sean, like I mostly know the movies, I know Star Trek through the more recent movies. I've watched a couple arcs of TNG from time to time. I've seen Wrath of Khan. So it's just like a smattering of different eras. So I have a good like kind of page one sense of, you know, quote unquote classic Star Trek. And I feel like Discovery has a good handle on like, okay, we have the format for, you know, kind of the problem of the week, the adventure of the week, but then we have the larger arc that like kind of hangs over all of that. So yeah, I thought it was promising. Like I haven't quite made a final decision on whether I like the show yet, but I definitely am interested in watching more. So
all right, let me answer Glen's mixed but overall positive with a question and then a review. Is this language-wise? Is this a clean podcast? Is this a...
You can say whatever the fuck you want.
Man, I fucking loved this show.
Really?
I loved it. I loved this episode.
Okay.
I remember you said earlier that you liked it. I did not realize it was this like passionate.
I fucking loved it. I don't know if this is Star Trek-y at all. Like I truly don't know the answer to that, but I do know like it's a well executed like action sci-fi hour of television that has some honorable stabs at humor and personality. And it's cool. Like it's like they make choices that are cool. The set design is cool. Like all of these like big set pieces are awesome. There's a lot of like little details throughout it that are just fucking cool. and I don't know, I bought into it immediately.
All right.
I don't regret being a CBS All Access subscriber.
Wow.
I'm in. I'm sold.
Wow.
I cannot wait to watch more of this.
All right. You're kind of goosing the enthusiasm for me now. I'm like, okay, maybe I should really give it a second look.
Whoa.
I was ready to suffer through this, and I ended up like edge of my seat being a huge fan. Yeah.
And whoa. I gotta pour some water on this. This is not what the listeners of this podcast are going to, well, actually, the ones that get angry and complain to me on Twitter about how we're too hard on the show. And
they're going to love me.
Well,
yeah.
You're showing that you're listening.
I'm going to test very well.
Yeah.
In the Nielsen ratings for this podcast.
Yeah. And, last season, I was the middle of the road guy, or the most positive about the show, I think. Mm-hmm. Me and James, and you two just really did not like it. And
yeah.
And for me, it was like the writing was standard TV writing. It wasn't blowing me away. And some of it made me mad. And some of this actually made me mad. But production-wise, like, it looks great.
It's a really great-looking show.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like no one, even like the most cynical Star Trek diehard, can't argue that like the show visually looks amazing.
They can.
Yeah, really.
Because the problem is, while the production value is off the charts,
it's like too good, right?
It's too good because this takes place 10 years before the original series.
Right.
And the canon, there's all these canon issues that, honestly, you know what? I don't even care about that.
Well, I remember you talking, like, when the show first premiered, or actually, I guess ahead of the premiere, about canon issues with the Klingons, like how the Klingons appeared.
Yes.
And so I can't remember exactly which theories y'all threw out there, but some of them were, like, pretty interesting. Like, I think there was one about, like, there's a virus from, like, some book or something that, like...
No, that's from the series Star Trek Enterprise. We haven't seen any Klingons yet in this season, though we've seen that a character from last season now has hair because it was a weird thing last season where the Klingons were all bald, and hair is a big deal in Klingon lore and shit.
Okay.
So it threw people for a loop. But yeah, you know what? Fuck it. Who cares? Like, but,
well, I was gonna say, just regarding this is maybe something that poisoned the well a little bit for me starting off. But the whole, like, previously on, like, last season thing, it really, just starting off the bat, like, just totally fresh with no context, it felt like the clips of the show from Galaxy Quest, like, when you see clips of the actual Galaxy Quest show, where it's just like, they made up some contrived situation that would play well in an out-of-context clip. And for some reason, just that didn't like totally connect.
Yeah. See, for me, that's what this whole show is.
Really?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's great that y'all loved it, and I liked this episode. There was a lot that I liked in it as well, because it felt like there were these big action set pieces that they were in there, and it just feels like one trick after another to get to the next thing.
Sure.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, but that's blockbuster entertainment in general. It's like,
yeah,
you got your
exactly.
set pieces and you got to connect the dots somehow.
Right.
Well, and I think like that, like maybe like the one issue I had with it is sort of like ties into that a little bit, is that like at times it did seem like 3 10-year-olds standing on each other's shoulders in a trench coat that says Prestige Television, you know?
Yes. Yes.
It's definitely like there's that whole, like, I don't even remember when it happens, but like a character makes like a long-winded metaphor about opera, like an opera singer.
I
yeah.
wrote notes about that. I have notes about that.
That whole thing, I'm like, oh my god, okay, like you are really trying for something big. Like this is a big, heavy, deep prestige TV swing, and I don't want it. Like I don't care for this. Get shut. Nobody would ever say these words out loud. Like
No,
that.
absolutely.
That was insane, and it does stuff like that a little bit. That I'm like, okay, like just be you, man. Like,
Yeah.
don't be Mad Men. You know, like just be Star Trek. It's okay.
Right, exactly. Appreciate what you are.
Yeah.
I had a specific note about that moment. I remember like seeing it because it's Anthony Rapp's character, which I believe his husband was killed in the previous season.
Yeah. His husband was fridged, basically.
Oh, right. Yes, that's right. I remember you saying that on an
They
episode.
buried their gays. They said they didn't, but they totally did. Because, like,
Yeah.
the secret Klingon character... Okay, just to fill you all in.
Sure.
The secret Klingon character from last season gets caught and then wakes up and just out of nowhere just snaps his neck.
Oh.
Because he's a doctor. And...
Oh, so he wakes up like in the med bay.
Oh,
and
I
just,
see. Got it.
Yeah, and it was a shock death, you know, like, because
Right.
they like to throw those out because Game of Thrones does that all the time,
Sure.
and it's prestige television.
Yeah.
And then they went through a lot of hullabaloo to say, no, we're not burying our gays, but it's just because I got caught. And
Well,
didn't.
it's like you said, that fridging a character in that fashion, doesn't really play well.
And if I'm going to make any predictions, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're going to bring him back this season. So, you know, try to retcon that.
Yeah, and like regarding that whole speech he gave about the opera, the note I wrote was like, I appreciate that Star Trek has an alien race whose sole purpose is to serve as a heavy-handed allegory for existential crisis. Like, because the whole thing, it's like, oh, they're this species. The singers prepare their entire lives for a single performance, and as soon as they're done, they stab themselves in the heart. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, there's a listener, Kristen from Toronto, I saw on Twitter. She pointed out rightfully, like, that is the most unethical performance that you could go to.
Yeah, it's insane. Endorsing like, if everybody stopped going, these people would stop killing themselves.
Yeah.
You know, like, just stop.
Right. They brought up like the opera thing last season because apparently Hugh Culber and Stamets, their first date when they were getting together was to go see an opera of La Vie Boheme.
Talk about on the fucking nose.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep, my theater people here know what I'm talking about.
Oh my god,
if
amazing.
Can I explain to the listeners if they don't know?
They probably know, but please do.
Anthony Rapp is arguably most famous for being in the original cast of Rent, which has a song. Well, the show is based on La Boheme.
Yeah.
So anyway, very
so
on
That
the
is,
nose.
yeah, that is. I wonder if Anthony Rapp has ever rolled his eyes harder than when he read that in his script.
I don't know. It depends on how hard he rolled his eyes at Tilly. You are incandescent.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Oh my god.
Was Tilly in last season?
Yes,
She was, okay.
Yeah, Tilly's
I was
great.
about to say I've never been more certain that someone's a red shirt than when she first appeared in this episode.
No. Tilly's a fan favorite. People like.
Oh really? Okay.
Oh, her death is gonna be brutal.
Okay, that makes sense then. Okay, so she's not a red shirt, but she's maybe the next character to hopefully not get fridged, but hopefully.
No, she's in it for the long haul. They're not going to kill her.
Okay,
Oh, you think?
that's good
Oh,
then.
okay, gotcha.
Too popular.
Because I liked her. I liked that there's like a, I feel like I've never really seen that in like classic Star Trek shows that I've seen, like kind of the, I don't know, I guess Chekhov is kind of the, nervous newcomer.
Yeah, I mean, Wesley Crusher.
Right, well, and like the plucky, overeager.
Yeah.
But she sells it well. Like Mary Wiseman, I think, is a good actor, and sometimes she's a little too cute by half.
Yeah.
But overall, like, I think she's pretty great.
I think that's a tough role. Like, I think doing that and not being incredibly grating is really, that's like a really thankless role that I mean, in this episode I liked, and it sounds like she's done a good job with. So, boy, a lot of credit to her.
Yeah, seriously. And honestly, I just felt like she was too happy. I was like, oh, this is going to end poorly. Like, I really thought that this was a new character who was going to die by the end of the episode, because like Anthony Rapp was like, "Oh, you're just starting out. Things are going to go great for you."
Yeah,
and
when she said like, "I'm the most recent member of the team," I was like, "Oh, this is a new character that like at some point will die." But cool.
Right. Yeah, last season she was a Starfleet cadet.
Okay.
In training. She's still and now she's in the command training program, which is why she gets to be on the ship and talk to all the higher ups.
Yes.
Yeah, so touching on that, I guess we can just go through this episode a little bit, starting at the beginning. Again, overall, it holds together well enough, but when you get into the specifics of lines and stuff, things didn't make sense to me. That's my main...
Right.
I definitely did not follow totally the arc that they were trying to set up, or that they, even the ones that they were following from last season. It wasn't 100% clear to me.
Right. Well, there was not a whole lot from last season. That the war ended last season. They were going en route to Vulcan to get their new captain, and they run into the Enterprise because fan service.
Right. Oh, which, by the way, this is the fan service I did not appreciate in the episode. When the Enterprise shows up and every single goddamn character on screen was like, "Oh my god, that's the Enterprise! It's like the best ship."
Yeah.
It's like I wrote in my notes. It's like they were all like, "The Enterprise, so hot right now." Like it was really
Right.
that like level of like, okay, we get it. Like it's the original ship.
So that was the first time the Enterprise showed up at all. The Enterprise was not in.
Yes.
All right. So have we not met adult Spock?
No.
Okay.
Like, when they started the show, they said, we are not going to see the Enterprise. It's going to be its own thing.
Right.
Brian Fuller had a lot of big ideas. They fired him.
Yeah.
It was kind of a rocky road. This season, the showrunners last season were two of Brian Fuller's writers that have been with him for a lot of his career. Apparently, around episode 5 or so of this season, they fired those showrunners because they were creating a toxic work environment and all this stuff.
Whoa,
Good Lord.
Okay. That's not what Star Trek's about.
Nope.
Yeah, and so I don't know. That's all weird, but people that listen to this podcast, I know my conspiracy theory is that it's just the suits fucking shit up. Like,
Right.
Alex
Yeah.
Kurtzman,
It's Occam's razor. That's the simplest.
Right. Like, oh, people love Star Trek. What do they love about Star Trek? They love the Enterprise and Spock. So I know that we said we're not going to have Spock in here, but
we have to.
Gosh darn it, we're going to do it, and they're just kind of doing
Well,
it.
it's the Gotham effect. Gotham ostensibly was supposed to be a show about Jim Gordon and like just having Bruce Wayne just be tangentially in the background. And from what I understand, that show has become like a full-on just like Batman show without Batman on it.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Way to work the Batman.
I know. Listen,
analogy.
you got to stick to what you know. And
Boy, you are always on brand.
Yep.
Yeah.
I tried to watch an episode of Gotham recently. I couldn't get past the recap. I'll just leave it at that.
Really?
Okay.
It's
I believe
so. It's exactly the thing with like what Wade was saying with the suits. It's just so heavy-handed. Like, do you get it?
Yeah.
He's the Riddler, and he said the word riddle. It's so clever. Like, ugh.
All right. Yeah.
But we're not. I won't get into that.
Yeah. Enough. That's enough. Start your own Gotham podcast.
Sorry, once again.
No, it's okay.
So I do have a question that I think, Wade, will be in your wheelhouse and hopefully won't set you off too much, but like sort of like a greater universe question, and a sort of a timeline question. Like I don't know of Spock ever having had like an adopted sister.
No,
Yeah, me neither.
That's another thing the canon nerds lost their shit about.
Okay.
Because he's never mentioned a sister, but then again,
Right.
he has a half brother that shows up in Star Trek V, where they go to find God, and that was never mentioned before either. So I mean, it's not unprecedented for them just
It's the kind of thing like, well, they never said he didn't have one.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, okay. So is this like locked into like Spock is going to, do all the things that Spock does later on? Like is this directly coming to that, like happening before that?
They've said this is
The Prime
canon. It's the Prime timeline. They've said we're going to see how Spock became the Spock that we know over the course of this season.
Interesting.
Maybe.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I'm not really on board with that.
No, that doesn't sound great.
I have plenty to say,
Oh.
but just the cold open of this after the recap is just. I start having issues with what are they saying? They don't seem to be. I don't get it.
Is the cold open when I forget what happens in the cold open?
We see footage of the Cassini probe of Saturn, which is fine. That's cool and all.
Oh yeah, I like the visually. I like that. That was cool.
Yeah, that was neat.
Yeah, that was cool. And then she gives a voiceover where she talks about there's this ancient creation myth from this tribe in Africa.
Yeah,
about it.
The parable.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. So where the child threw dust up into the air, and that's the Milky Way galaxy. And I never could figure out what that was trying to tell me before. It's like, it wasn't trying to tell you anything. It was a creation myth, you dummy.
Right. It's not about you or like really anything. It's about how things exist now. That's it.
Yeah. And it's not a message from in a bottle, though they have these 7 lights. And then they go straight into the throwing the dust in the air. Hey, see, it's just like Spock throwing the computer dust in the air to create the space
The
eater.
computer
right.
dust
He did
in the air.
the power move of summoning a digital dragon to
His nightmare. It's revealed.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
that was kind of interesting. For a bit, it was like, okay, is Spock like? Is he supposed to be like a Damien character when he's little? Like, is this like an Omen situation?
No, he's I don't know. I hated Baby Spock. Baby Spock I was not here for.
Boy, his eyebrows were buck wild.
Yeah.
Those were he needs less. Less is more.
Yeah.
Baby
Well,
Spock.
I think they made it clear by the end of the episode that what they were going for is like Spock's kind of had like a complicated emotional development just by nature of.
Well, that's always. I mean, yeah, that's sort of like Spock's arc in.
Right.
I mean, at least again in the Chris Pine movies, like that's sort of like his whole thing.
Sure.
Yeah. In the original series, it is not.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's not what Nimoy's doing.
No. So I mean, he's just he's a logic over. He's all logic. That's
Well, I mean,
Right.
yeah, he's kind of like the gold standard for the voice of reason character in any like given genre thing at this point.
right.
Yeah, it is very funny that like modern interpretations of Spock have taken like his love of logic and used it to apply like a white man existential crisis on him.
Right.
Like they're like, oh good, like his conflict comes from the only thing that like about his whole thing from the original series.
Yeah.
Good. We
Right,
can just
right.
use that and make it like his conflict. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got demons because he's logical.
Right.
All right. I guess.
Yeah, the
Sure.
original series, the original movies with Kirk and Nimoy do lean into that more than the TV show did, where his half-human conflict with himself.
Gotcha,
But
okay.
the show didn't do it too much. Maybe like an episode here or there, but overall, that's his bit. But in this episode, Burnham is like, no, I know that Spock has empathy. I was like, okay,
Right.
Yeah, there was a lot of weird, like the fact that her and Sarek and Amanda are her foster parents, but they basically adopted her, right?
Right. Her parents were murdered by Klingons.
Okay.
In a raid. And another, just line-wise, the first thing that Amanda says is she says, hello, my name's Amanda, what's your name? She says her name. Then she says, I bless you.
Yeah, it was wild.
Oh, right. That was super weird.
Yeah, it's like, this is dumb. Like, there's just weird things to say because it sounds
Right. It
something-
sounds well. It's like Sean said. It's like it's the prestige television veneer.
Yeah.
Like everything has to have like weighty gravitas to it.
I'm wondering from a place of concern, like, are they doing faith? Like, are they presenting like a religion and science, like, is that going to be a thing? Like, I feel like there were several.
Well, that would
like,
explain the
allusions
angels
to faith, right? Like, it does feel like there's a good amount of stuff that is.
It is
A lot of imagery, some line reads that seem to point to like a faith storyline.
It is interesting that you say that, because before the season 1 even ended, they had talked about, we got plans for what we're going to do with season 2. It's going to be about the conflict between faith and religion.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
Yes.
Okay, so yes.
Presumably, young emotional Spock, before he gets to hard logic Spock in the original series, is going to. He says has visions of as a child and his nightmares that his mom told him to write down, and that's
That's where the dragon and the angel come
yeah,
from.
we get that at the end.
Right, his nightmare is, and in the end, it's revealed he's had like a vision of these 7 orbs. 7 not being an irrelevant number, obviously.
Right.
In this discussion, so he's seen what the arc of this season is, and he's off to find it on his own.
Well, and it seems like they're setting him up to be the MacGuffin. It's like it really is like a where's Spock?
Oh yeah, totally.
It's the search for Spock.
Yeah, it's Redux.
Another little trick that annoyed me was they spent the old episode pretending like we didn't know Spock was off missing somewhere, because Michael Burnham and Sarek are like, why didn't Spock come over from the Enterprise? Oh, I want to go to the Enterprise to see Spock. And then they wait till the last 10 minutes for Pike to say,
Yeah.
oh no, he's not there.
Yeah.
Surprise. No,
Gasp.
we knew that, because the fucking everything about it's
were the trailers like making it clear that like, oh yeah, Spock's missing?
it's like Cumberbatch CumberCon all over
Oh
again.
my
We
God.
know that Spock's not on in the Enterprise, so why are you trying to trick us that he is?
Yeah, that's fair.
I could talk for a long time about the decision to make Benedict Cumberbatch Con, but I won't get into it.
Yeah.
I like that movie. I know that's a polarizing movie, but
Yeah.
I like it, and I like him, and I'm not a big Cumberbatch defender.
I am a big Cumberbatch defender, and I liked him in that movie, but I think making him Khan was the dumbest thing they could have done.
Yeah.
I think the execution of him being like, just say like he's Khan, and we'd all be like, okay,
Right.
Yeah. We all said he was Khan 2 years before the movie came
Right.
out.
Right.
We called it, and you pretended that wasn't the case, and then you did this
Right,
whole
right.
half-assed contrivance. Well, anyway.
Right.
I
But
was
that's,
like,
that's a whole other universe.
yeah. Sorry.
we'll do a Kelvin universe podcast
Yeah,
at some
they
point.
haven't jumped to that universe yet, so we'll see.
Do you think?
No, they won't, because
Oh, right, because the rights are different.
yeah, until CBS merges with Paramount again.
Got it. That's so weird to me that like the rights. Well, anyway.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
But there is another universe, and yes, there's
The mirror.
The mirror universe, yes.
and that was not addressed in this season directly, but was in sort of the recap.
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
revealed that there's a whole alternate mirror universe situation, and I don't know, is that going to keep being relevant?
Well, that's like a notable thing from the original series, right? Like that's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
famous
it's
like
there.
it is okay. Gotcha.
there.
I don't want to go over too much of my issues with that, but the way that the mirror universe is in this versus what we have in the original series and Deep Space Nine is a little weird.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
But all what you need to know is that Jason Isaacs, the captain from last season, was an evil mirror universe imposter.
Okay.
And they replaced good Michelle Yeoh, who died at the beginning of last season. They replaced her with evil Michelle Yeoh, who was the emperor of the Terran Empire in the mirror universe last season.
Oh, okay, I see. And is evil Michelle Yeoh the one getting her own show?
Yes.
Interesting.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because I knew. Yeah, I assumed it was the non-mirror version that was, but okay.
No, she did.
All right.
She did. Okay. I mean, I don't know if that's good or not because I didn't see last season,
Yeah.
but it sounds interesting at
Yeah,
least.
sure. And I love Michelle Yeoh, so that's
Yeah, I'm down for just Michelle Yeoh. So
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. If she gets to work, I'm happy.
I don't. Yeah. I have my minor quibbles with all the mirror universe stuff last season, but you know what? Let's fuck it. Who
Well,
cares?
Your minor tribbles? Do you mean?
Yeah.
Hey.
Well,
and you said you didn't know Star Trek.
There's a tribble in the movie.
Oh, right. That's how they bring. Yeah.
yeah. And there's a reference. I have a minor quibble with tribbles in this episode, but
Wait.
That the reference she says she's like a
Oh,
crying
yeah.
tribble.
a baby tribble in the kill zone.
Right.
What is the kill zone? I was wondering about that.
See, that's where I'm putting on my nerd glasses, and actually, they had a Tribble last season that showed up that they never mentioned. I wrote a whole Medium piece that ended with me bitching about that Tribble.
You're my favorite kind of nerd. Oh my god.
Yeah. Because in the original series, Tribbles aren't widely known. They're not like a mystery necessarily to everyone in the Federation, but they're not common parlance.
It wouldn't be like someone talking about a rabbit. Like it's more like
No, like in the original series, Kirk and Spock and Uhura have never seen a Tribble before, and oh my god, they're so cute.
Well, the whole thing is like they're like mammalian bacteria, right? Like they like reproduce super
they
quickly.
reproduce a lot. Except the one that you had last season didn't, and they never addressed why. And yeah, whatever.
Well, it does seem like there like are a lot of moments. Like again, I'm thinking about like when y'all were talking about the Klingon stuff. It seems like there are a lot of moments with potential for like interesting explanations that kind of make things jibe a little easier for the canon.
Right. Well,
hardcore.
there's stories that you could tell with these elements that they don't have any interest in and actually telling stories that are influenced by where these elements sit in the universe. They're just like they really just want to get the reference in there instead of thinking about how the reference lives in the universe.
Now, is that like just the nature of serialization? Like, is that just the fact that they, like, if they were doing an episodic show, then that does give you more of a chance to explore the universe without serving like a longer, wide-reaching arc. And it feels like in this, it's like, I don't know, throw some references into stuff that's in the Star Trek universe, but like everything we get to is going to exist in service of like this story. And in season 1, it seems like that story was the Klingon War, unless I'm wrong. And in season 2, it's going to be this chasing the
right.
Finding God through these red spheres.
Right. Well, ostensibly last season the story was the Klingon War, except you never saw the war. Hardly.
What?
Oh, well, everyone kept...
but I'm putting that behind me because they were episodes dealing with the episode of the week issue there that were usually tangential to waging the war, and then they got stuck in the mirror universe and left the war behind.
That kind of derailed.
And then when they got back there,
everyone in the episode was talking like about how they felt bad that they had missed the war, which I thought that was a weird way to phrase something like that.
Well, that's okay. This is confusing, I guess. The Discovery didn't necessarily miss all the war, but the Enterprise did. The Enterprise was on one of its 5-year missions.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I was getting mixed up.
Sort of like a throwaway during that conversation where she tells Pike, like, it's okay that you missed the war, which is like that's such a weird, that's sort of like contrived conversation.
Yeah, it kind of was.
I guess we haven't really talked about Pike himself, which that's the guy from Inhumans, right? Like that's who Anson Mount is. Wasn't he Black Bolt on Inhumans? Am I wrong about this?
I have no idea.
I could not even begin to fathom a guess. I'll say yes.
I didn't see the show, but I liked that actor on as Pike.
Right.
I liked him. I thought he was a cool Pike. Even all I've seen of Pike again is the
Bruce Greenwood version, which that's a tough act to follow. Like
Bruce Greenwood is a tough act. Because he comes on and says there's these 7 mysterious signals that we talk about all over the galaxy. And this is another, sorry to break the flow here with my
it's all good.
No, please, this is exactly what we want from you.
It just makes the galaxy seem small.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
Because like, oh look, and then he after he takes control of the ship, and they do another trick where they're like, this is another where he gives lines that don't actually make sense when you think about him. When he beams on, he's like, I'm here to take over your ship. And they're like, what? And he's like, look, I was briefed. I know what happened with your last captain. And I thought it would be easier if I surprised you personally instead of getting orders from Starfleet to take me off.
Right, instead of Starfleet saying, hey, just so you know, like, this guy's coming. You know who this guy is. Like, you can trust him. We know you've been through some stuff. He's like, no, let me do it. They have no reason to trust me. They seemed, my haunches were up because I've watched too much like twist-based procedural television. I was like, this is an evil version of it. Like, this is evil.
Right.
They're bad. They're evil. They immediately came in and I was like, no, I don't trust it. I don't like it.
And that's the trick that they're trying, they're doing the standard writing trick of having this thing happen. But you know what? It's going to be empty because I'm pretty sure he's going to be a good guy.
Yes.
And then the other thing when he comes on, Doug Jones, Commander Saru, is like, there's only 3 reasons that you would be able to do this.
And it's funny, like,
and then he names 3 things that aren't separate reasons, that just are one reason and expounding upon
right.
one
So
another.
when he says all 3, it's supposed to like suggest the multitude of the danger, but he's actually like any one of those 3 envelops the other 2 probably. Like it's not. Yeah, it's I mean, I said in the beginning I loved this. The nitty-gritty of it is like a nightmare. Like
Sure.
there are like I hated so much of like the little bits that happened. The overall I like it very much.
Big picture you were on board for.
Yeah, I can pick it apart for hours, and I plan to. That's what I'm here to do.
Right.
But yeah, that whole so the captain that's being usurped by Pike. What the fuck is he, and why is he flossing all the time?
Well, it's Doug Jones, who you will know as...
I'm asking what alien that is.
His name is, he's Commander Saru.
Right.
He was the second in command when evil Captain Lorca was on the ship. When he died, he took over.
Which, when he died, it made the exact noise of a TIE fighter. I just want to go on record saying that.
Yes,
I
did.
do. Yeah. No, it sure did.
Like, they literally took the sound file and just, like, play it.
Yeah, right.
That did seem like a wild choice.
Yeah. The screams were wild in this.
Yo, yeah.
that was also crazy at the end.
Was there a Wilhelm scream at any point? I didn't catch
No,
one.
No.
So I watched with subtitles on because Nikki, my lovely fiance Nikki, was asleep, and I watched it this morning. So I like lower volume with the subtitles, just
Sure.
the closed captioning, just so I can hear it a little better. And first off, doors whooshing open would be a great drinking game. We'd all be dead. Boy, they say it every time a door opens, and I'm like, I don't need this. Like, we could figure that part out. But when she like has the thing in her leg and she screams, the closed captioning actually said roaring.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, they addressed, and it was, she sounded like a fucking wild animal.
Yeah, right.
And then like, she also seemed completely fine. So I was perplexed by that.
Well, once she gets in the med bay, they have really good doctors. But yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Medical technology has really advanced and
Yeah.
by the 23rd century.
There was also a lot of another drinking game we could play was walking and talking, like West Wing style. Like there were I don't remember that really being a Star Trek thing from earlier.
No, they spent a lot of money on those corridors.
Yeah,
though,
there
so
you go.
Yeah, they gotta get their value.
Right.
And you know what? Credit where credit's due. The corridors looked great. Like everything looked great on this show. Like that is.
It did. I love that the pod launching sequence where they're all like coming out of the different like little corridors. I just like it's such like a little thing, but I'm watching it and I'm like, this is really cool. Like I just give them, and maybe like I shouldn't,
No, you absolutely
I give them a
should.
lot of credit for like just trying to make something cool.
Yeah, and it's
in
memorable.
making,
Like that's like it sticks with you.
Again, I'm with you on the pod race scene was pretty awesome, sure.
Yeah.
But it was also like we're doing a big action set piece, and so it was all this weird things built around we got to get the pods, and then like
Oh, sure.
they have just landing shuttles,
Right.
But they have to throw in some technobabble of
Sure.
well, the gravity is so bad here it'll destroy a shuttle. Luckily, we have these pod racers that we can use.
And they do say, like, these were specifically designed for the gravity of one specific planet that sort of matches the gravity fluctuations here. And I agree 100%. That's such wild justification for just having people fly through an asteroid field.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you know what? But I'm not even here to hate on that.
No, sure.
Fine. We're doing action
No,
Star Trek.
because it does give you something
Yeah,
cool.
exactly.
And the Discovery is a advanced science vessel that's doing all these tests. So they have a utility belt, basically, that's going to have a doodad gadget for every situation.
Well, and that would make sense for any of these like Starfleet ships, because especially the ones going on 5-year missions, because the whole premise is that they are exploring unknown regions of the galaxy and they don't know what they're going to come across. So like, you know, it behooves them to have, like you said, a utility belt. And so
Right.
Like Batman's so rich, there's no reason for him to not have shark
Exactly.
on his belt. You know,
Damn, you beat me to it by like literally half a second.
Yeah, I know. I knew you were doing it. We couldn't say utility belt. I usurped you.
Yeah.
It's okay. I forgive
And in a post-scarcity and world where they have unlimited resources, sure, they got unlimited tools. But what you just said about how it's a show all about exploring the galaxy, all right, a couple more nitpicks.
All right, let's hear them. Get the popcorn.
When they have this mysterious signal that they got 7 red signals all at the same time from all across the galaxy, and their hackles are up because they just got out of a war, fine. But, like, we get mysterious signals. The universe, the galaxy is a large place.
Yeah.
We get mysterious signals all the time, but this Starfleet, the Federation, has knowledge of everything, that anything anomalous, everybody has to drop what they're doing to figure out these 7 signals.
Well, I guess there was a throwaway line that was like, the last time we saw something like this, the beginning of the war.
Oh,
right. And
I'm like, all right, okay.
That's how the beginning of season 1's begun, which they found the beacon. So I'll go with it. But I'm still like,
I agree with you. I'm certainly not telling you that your complaint is invalid. I'm just, they're doing the work to justify this stuff. It's just like, the more hoops you have to jump through, the bigger those hoops get.
Sure.
Like, we can see them.
Right. And the other thing, they say, these 7 signals, and then they show a picture of the entire galaxy with these 7 red dots on it. And then Pike says, the only signal that'll show us where it is this one, and they magnify to it, and it's like, I see 6 other signals right there, you motherfucker.
Right, yeah, like, what are you talking? I can see them.
Yeah, like, we can't zoom in on them. I mean, the galaxy is a big place, but you at least know their general region.
Right.
So
then if you get this one, you can find the others. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be a scavenger hunt because they found Spock's notes. It has all of them.
Sure.
I think.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and the whole thing is like in a universe where they've cracked their post-scarcity, they have cracked faster than light travel, they've got teleportation, they have all of these things. It's just there was something about like them finding like the whatever crystal she found like when she was injured.
Yeah.
Or no, that she lost.
Dark matter.
Yeah. It's like, this could be unlimited energy. It's like, is fuel really a problem at this point in history? Like, it doesn't seem like it is.
Do you have to stop at like space truck stops and gas up?
Actually, I'm pushing my glasses up.
Please do.
In the original series, I mean, the warp ships travel via the power source's dilithium crystal. In the original series, it's a little bit more of a limited resource where they have to get more dilithium and stuff for plot whenever the plot demands it, basically.
Sure.
In the next generation, they figured out how to recycle dilithium crystals so that they don't have to gas up.
Right.
And in one of the short treks, that I hated the most, the one I hated the most, was they do a sly reference to recycling dilithium.
So is the whole thing, and sorry to get onto like, day one questions here, but
sure.
Is the whole idea that like the matter synthesizers that they use to like make food and everything else, like can those things not create dilithium? Is that the problem, or is
that there are some things that cannot be replicated?
Got it.
And the replicators themselves are a canon problem for a lot of the nerds that are angry at Discovery.
Oh, really?
Because the original series did not have replicators. It had food creators or something, but they couldn't just make anything.
Oh, so like they only could make, it wasn't that they could make anything, it's just they had to make.
I mean, now it's their 3D printers. It's like, of course they'd have that by then, but in the original series, they didn't have replicators to make whatever they want whenever they want it.
Okay, got it. That makes sense. Well, because I've had a lot of questions just even from watching like the J.J. Abrams movies where it's like, it's all post-scarcity. Like they can make whatever they want. They have all of these resources. I am curious how the society actually works because like Kirk has a nice apartment and it's like, does everyone just get a nice apartment if they want one? Like
yeah, that's one of the big most argued over questions of Star Trek, because we know like they didn't even settle into this post-scarcity no money thing until Star Trek 4, where they save the whales. Is the first time that Kirk mentions that they don't have money, because they have credits and stuff that they talk about before then. And yeah, Deep Space Nine goes on about other cultures might have money in Latin.
Well, the Ferengi, I guess, are the notable.
Yeah, exactly. But so the original series, it's more up in the air to argue about exactly whether they have money or not. So you can play a little bit faster and loose with it, and this time too, I guess.
Well, yeah, and that's not something like I'm like super concerned with, obviously, but like these are just by nature.
The main thing is they live in a utopia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like I had another question about like the energy thing. So they're like trying to find this thing that'll give them control over dark matter. Tig Notaro was in the mix, which I had forgotten she had been cast in that show. So when she showed up,
I didn't know. Fun. I liked her.
Oh, Tig was, when I want to get to Tig in a moment, because that was my favorite part.
Yeah.
in a weird way. Or let's get to the other thing first. I'll wait.
Right. They don't even say it's dark matter. They say it's non-baryonic matter, and maybe it is dark matter. Yeah, I don't. I'm canon-wise, I'm sure dark matter's come up before. That's one of those things.
It must, yeah.
All these sci-fi space shows.
Well,
do
it's
weird
such
things
a
with dark
handy,
matter.
like, MacGuffin.
Right, because we don't know anything about it.
Can I ask more of like just real quick, just like a more of like a television show question about it, unless like in the minutia of Trek.
Please. That's what I'm more interested in.
So Michael, which is an interesting name for a girl, a little distracting at first, but you get used to it.
Yeah, it's because Brian Fuller, all his leads in all his shows have been women with
Male names.
Traditionally male names.
Is that true? That's funny.
I actually went to college with someone named Michael that was a woman. So that's there. I have actually met someone that has that name. So it's kind of interesting.
No, that's okay. I brought it up. Is she sort of? I don't know. It felt at times, and I might be off base. It might just be like how some of this was had to happen because there was a lot going on. Does she? It felt at times like she was. I'm taking forever to get this out. Oh my god! It felt at times like she was acting more like a viewpoint than as like a character.
Yeah, kind of the audience surrogate, basically.
And I know, and she got stuff like I mean, at the end, like her finding like Spock's notes, like she during like the pod race down to the asteroid, like she's there, like she's in it. But sometimes it felt like stuff was just happening around her while I was led to believe that I should be like more with her.
That's been an issue for me since this whole show. Like, I actually don't really care about Michael Burnham that much.
Okay.
They sell us like Michael Burnham's so awesome, and Sonequa Martin Green is a fine actor, but there's something I just feel everything so much, and it's like I thought you were like raised, but like it just doesn't sell them. It's a taste thing for me, but
no, sure. I mean, it does seem like she should. It feels like be sort of like a mirror to Spock, like a Vulcan like raised with human influences and a human raised with Vulcan influences, and she doesn't. She just felt like a little bit flat, like she was just like more reacting to the world. And then like again in like the action like moments she gets stuff to do, like, and that's when you're like, okay, like yeah, she's the hero clearly, but it I don't know, it felt like the other moments I got more characterization out of everybody else, while stuff was just sort of like her relationship with Spock was her character like trait.
Yeah, I mean a lot of leads of action stuff kind of suffer from that, I guess.
Sure, absolutely.
But I'm 100% with you.
I do think. And yes, sir. Go ahead.
No, I was going to pose a question about y'all.
No, please.
To y'all about what do you think about her relationship to Spock?
I think so. I was going to say this earlier.
My main question is, did they fuck?
Yeah, I was wondering if they fucked.
In the coming weeks segment thing, after the episode ended, there was like a quick shot of her making out with someone, and the guy had dark hair and a beard like Spock has, like you see Spock in the same like montage, and like for a moment I was like, is she making out with Spock?
I think they fucked.
Yeah, to answer your question just there, Glenn, that's a misdirect. That's Shazad Latif, or
is
Clint
that like
Fandango.
her love interest from the last season or something?
Yeah, he's the secret Klingon, and he went back to live with the Klingons.
Is he the guy that snapped the neck of Anthony Rapp? Got it. Okay, it's all coming together.
Oh, well, that's interesting too.
I'm with you. Okay.
There's a love triangle there that I did not care for last season.
Really?
That I'm sure is coming back.
I am not as bothered. I can't be bothered with stuff like that in a lot of these things.
Yeah, but back to Michael and Spock, because...
Oh, yeah. Do they go the distance? I hope not.
Like, I like the scene where she's talking to her foster dad, and she's like, well, what lesson did you want Spock to learn from me? And empathy.
Right.
And then he's like, I fear he may have never fully accepted to me. And he's like, well, no, he accepted me. I wish he embraced the lesson. It's like, he embraced something, all right.
Right. No, he's got empathy. Okay. Like, yeah, is his dick empathy? Like, is that what we're talking about? It definitely felt like a sexual undertone. And I just have to imagine, even on All Access, CBS does not want adoptive incest.
No.
Right.
No.
I can't imagine the network would be okay with that, but boy, that's the energy.
It goes back to Prestige. You know, if they wanted to be that Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah,
true.
that's honestly, that
Incest
might be.
is in right now.
Right. Just look at all the searches on YouPorn.
Boy, the incest is a big porn search term right now.
I know it's that. Yeah. It's damn it, Game of Thrones.
I really hope that that's not where they're going with Michael and Spock. That's
right. That's kind of like they got Ethan Peck, Gregory Peck's grandson, to play Spock.
Yeah.
very cool.
They keep saying, "Oh my God, this Spock is so handsome and hot," and then we got to have him have a romance.
Right.
Well, who are we gonna romance him with? Well, might as well make it the lead, but it's his sister. But who knows?
I'm on board. I can't wait.
As Game of Thrones has turned everyone into such fucking weirdos.
Right?
Yeah, it's true. But I don't know. See, I'm interested to see like how that Michael's character like keeps develop. Like if she keeps feeling like, I don't know, like more reactive to the world and less like,
Yeah.
you know, like a worthy protagonist, if you will.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot of like setting up of arcs this season or for this in this premiere. And I feel like for me, like my final opinion is going to really depend on like where it all goes. Like, you know, because if it's
Sure.
if it ends with Michael and Spock Lannistering it up and
Right, then 5 stars from me. Maybe not so much from Glenn.
those
Yeah.
Do people like, just getting off this topic for Glenn's sake?
No, it's fine.
Do people like the ship designs like from the outside? Do people like the looks of the ships?
I think people have come around on liking the Discovery. People did not like the re-envisioning of the Enterprise.
They didn't. Okay, but I think this is like just where the distance is beneficial. I thought it looked cool. I thought it was like
I think it looked fine. I think
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be surprised if they downplayed a lot of the shots of the Enterprise to make so you don't linger on just how different it is sometimes.
right.
I mean, apparently it's like, I guess the scale is the biggest thing. It's like, how come it's like 3 times the size of the old one? Or maybe, I don't know what the exact measurements of it are. Cause,
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right, sure. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not like super concerned with like questions of like to me that always seems like what's the Simpsons episode where they're Homer it's the Poochie episode where like someone raises their hands like, oh, in this episode Scratchy plays Itchy's rib cage and it plays 2 different notes on the same cage. What's up
Right.
with that? And someone is like, get a life. Like,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I wouldn't be that harsh about it, of course, but I do feel like there's a level of
right. Well, you know, that Simpsons reference is honking on Star Trek anyways, right?
I guess it is. There you go. I didn't even like do that intentionally, but and again, not because like there's plenty of stuff like clearly the Batman stuff. I will be all about the minutia there, but I do feel like it's
Yeah, when Batman shows up on this show, I'm coming to you.
yeah. There you go. Exactly. I'm the go-to guy. Oh God.
When they cast Vin Diesel, I got you.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
God,
man.
I would love that so much in
He's
any
got
Star
the
Trek.
fastest ship in the fleet.
Well,
They're-
he'd have to.
Yeah, right. It would be in his
it's
contract.
Yep. He doesn't lose.
He does. This. Oh my God.
Amazing.
I know we have the Riddick movies, but I want.
Listen, we could do this all day. We got to get back to Star
Yeah,
Trek.
sorry.
Let's talk Tig.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk Tig.
Let's talk Tig. On the way to Tig, though, Evan Connolly,
Yes, good.
science douche bro.
Fuck him.
Fuck him, he dies. But you know what? The thing I've watched this a few times, and like, he's a douche, good riddance, I guess. But you know what? They're nothing but dicks to him from the outset.
Yeah,
and
it's
he
true.
didn't do anything wrong initially.
No, you're right.
He just said,
Except for being super smug, like, look, I've done the calculations. There's absolutely no way one of these asteroids is gonna.
Well, no, but that's later.
before then, even, yeah. Like, before then, he's just like, Michael Burnham says, oh, actually, you should have done this. Why didn't you use this simile?
Right.
And he says, like, oh, the metaphor didn't work out. And she's like, actually, it's a simile. And then another just like head scratcher of a line, Pike says to Burnham after that, he says, well, I guess I owe you a simile, Commander.
That was a nightmare.
It's like, what? That doesn't make sense either.
No, I don't. Yeah, it's like this new guy. He says hello, and they're like, "Oh my god, fuck off!"
Right?
And I'm like, "Wait, hold on."
This dickhead.
And the grumpy guy, like, saying the calculations don't match, that's like a Star Trek trope.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
When it's one of our space friends, we love that guy. If Bones had gotten into one of those pod racers.
Oh yeah.
That he'd be saying that.
Right. And Burnham says, there's a lot of asteroids out here. And Evan Connolly, a douche officer, says, well, no shit.
Right.
Like, we would chuckle at that if our friend said it.
Right.
But now they're like, oh, you just doomed yourself to death.
It's like, oh, you questioned the main character. How could you?
And then it's like, I had a Cation roommate in college, and I was better at math than her. It was a little weird.
It was weird.
Oh, was that a racist joke? I must have missed that line because that feels like
Right. Well, when you think he says Asian roommate, it's super racist.
yeah,
that's what I heard at first. Then I was like, oh no, that's an alien.
Yeah.
Okay.
surely Star Trek by this the universe at this point they've gotten past at the very least that overt kind of racism.
Yeah, so it's still probably a little bit racist, and he dies for it, but it's not the kind of racist that, it's Earth racist, it's space racist.
Oh well, yeah, whole different beast.
Right.
I was gonna say in general because the thing about like calculating the odds and stuff that just reminded me that especially with Pike, they really leaned on a lot of like Star Wars iconography. So obviously Pike is in general kind of like a Han Solo like swaggering type character. But there were a couple moments where like there was a moment I genuinely thought he was going to say, never tell me the odds.
Oh yeah.
And then there was there was like a moment in the episode where he uses like a pipe to brace open a door, and it like felt it felt very trash compactor in New Hope.
Oh yeah. See, I didn't even think of that because Star Trek captains have been kind of swinging dicks because the 60s.
That's the kind of minutia that I like concern myself with.
Right. Because I was there for Pike. Like Pike.
Oh yeah, me too. He was good.
Pike was a fun, and that character, like, to get canon nerd about it, there's not enough there to.
Sure.
I know that like 20 years later, he gets stuck he has a horrible accident and he's in a wheelchair or something.
Well, he's
beep boop chair.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but is he the captain in the original pilot of Star Trek, or is that a different guy?
Yeah. No, it
is Pike. Okay, so that's like the reason he's kind of constantly been treated as like the mentor character, I guess, in like the later movies.
He's in the pilot, and then they recut the pilot for an episode and later on, and he's in a wheelchair and scarred up, and he can't talk.
Right.
Yeah. So they get through. Lieutenant Science Officer Douchebro dies. And then
official name.
Yeah. But my favorite, speaking of Star Wars, though, we meet Jet Reno. The most Star Wars sounding name that I've...
Amazing.
Yes.
Was that Tig's name?
That's Tig's name, yeah.
I missed the name. Jet Nero. That is very...
Reno.
Jet Reno. Okay. I thought... Nero's Eric Bana. Never mind.
Jet Reno, which I was like, that's a badass name. And then as I've talked with people online and stuff about it, I just can't stop hearing... Janet Reno.
The Will Ferrell version specifically.
Yeah, which... I mean, after a while sitting with it, it just kind of earworms in your brain. And,
sure.
And you know what? That almost, some people feel that's almost offensive to like make the mannish, I don't know, lesbian.
No, I get what you're saying. Like, because there was like a long period of time where, again, Will Ferrell, case in point.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, where that was kind of like in retrospect, a very problematic way that they approached like covering that person. So,
but you know what? I'm there. I still think Jet Reno is a boss name, but it's just like
Jet Reno's an amazing name.
That's a great sci-fi
Tig
name.
was fucking great, man.
Tig was my favorite part.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to kind of go back to that episode and reevaluate, but like. My first reaction to Tig was actually not like super favorable. Like nothing against her. Like I think she's great. Like and like especially in the comedy world, like she's fantastic. Like people love her and rightfully so. But like in this specific episode, for some reason my reaction was like I felt like her delivery wasn't well suited to like the science fiction like situation they're in. But again, I think it's probably very clear by this point. Like I've been extremely cautious in like in kind of forming an opinion on this show, so I think I need to kind of...
Yeah, I think to me, like, that's part of why it worked. Like, she sort of
Yeah,
had...
it's like a contrast.
Yeah, I mean, she had, like, a Simon Pegg Scotty delivery, like,
Yeah.
like, just sort of throwing it out, you know? Like
Sure.
it's nothing, you know?
Yeah, the no-nonsense, dry, like, that's part of it's, like, after living a season and this episode with Michael Burnham, who, every line... I just feel so strongly about this thing that I'm emoting about like, when she's a logician.
Yeah.
It was so refreshing to me to hear Tig just deadpan it.
To have someone who's just like, no bullshit.
And when I was watching it, I was like, I could see how some people might think this is kind of a wooden performance. But you know what? That's Tig's truth. Like that going through life, that's what she sounds like.
Yeah, it
like,
is.
you know, like,
and that's the thing. It's like because for a moment I was like, oh, seems like it could be like a wooden performance, but then I was like, no, like that's Tig Notaro, like that is her delivery. So you're right. That's
and the look she gave when she's like, the war's over, and she's like, well, like, I was there for all the, give me more Jet Reno.
okay.
And they gave her one joke, like, you know, where have you been for 10 months?
Yeah.
Great, fine, solid, loved it.
That was good.
Sometimes you just need a character that just says words.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like in a sci-fi world.
Throw out the melodrama.
Right, exactly. Like it's definitely, you know, again, like that prestige overcoat, you know, like, and sometimes you just need that one character that's just like, yeah, I don't know, I rigged up the thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, you did what? And she's like, I don't know, I had to. And they're like, okay.
Yeah, of course I would. Yeah, you would have done. Yeah,
I do really like she was like an engineer who just basically just one by one solved all the medical problems.
And I read.
Right.
I'm like, okay, yeah. Cool, like, great.
Yeah.
Okay, that was really good. I actually really liked
like
that
this
line.
is a justification that I understand that I don't need.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, well, my father was a doctor and I could. No, like, she fucking figured it out.
Right.
Yeah.
There's some melodrama.
Yeah, it's just another system, machine, and I read.
Right. Like, yeah, perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all you need. The mad scientist with all the aliens, and it's also a little on the nose. Like, she's like, see that Valentine, the guy whose heart she had to trade a Boolean heart and put in a box.
Oh, yeah.
His name was Valentine because it's a heart. Get it?
That's so fucking funny.
And he's like he looks like Lou Gossett Jr. in Enemy Mine.
Yeah.
That's what the alien looked like.
Oh, he did. Yes, he did. Wow, I haven't seen that movie in so long.
I know, but he might be an alien, but he's got a human name.
Yep.
Hearts.
Great. Love it.
Okay, so I've been swayed even by this conversation. I also wonder if I did watch this episode, like, it was almost midnight, and because my wife didn't want to watch it, so I like had to wait till she went to bed.
Yeah.
And so I might have been a little like too tired to fully appreciate the tone shift.
Yeah, wait, does Joni watch this with you?
Yeah.
She does. Is she a fan?
She loves it.
Yeah, she likes it.
Wow, okay, cool. That's nice. She doesn't want to be on the pod?
Maybe someday. Like, yeah, she puts up with my nitpicking, little bitching, complaining about little things.
I would love to hear her on the podcast.
It may happen someday.
Listen, I'll make Nikki watch it. Glenn, you make Mia watch it. And Joni will watch it.
Okay.
And just the three of them will do an episode.
I'd be like, what the fuck did they make us watch?
Yeah, it'll be great.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they saved the day, and I feel like that her running away from the explosions after she gets out of the it's another set piece that they were setting up. Like,
Sure.
Yeah.
There's the tripwire. I just wanted her to jump over the tripwire when she was running away.
I know.
That's
I
like,
know.
come on.
That I had a pacing issue with that. It felt like it happened very fast. Like it escalated far too quickly for me. Like
Right.
That
Yeah.
escalated quickly. Yeah.
I was like, stuff's gonna go bad here. I know that. But then everything exploded, and I was like, okay. I mean,
But you know,
sure.
it's a season premiere. Something's got to blow up.
Yeah, no,
It's-
I had no issue with it in a vacuum, but I thought, and I already thought, so every episode's an hour. That's how they do.
Well, they can do whatever they want.
Oh, okay, I see.
CBS All Access.
Yeah.
So this was an hour long, which I get, like, they had to, you know, like, do a lot of stuff, some housekeeping for a new season, but it did feel long to me.
Right.
And I did think some pacing stuff was weird.
Right. Last season, they said we can do whatever times we want, but nearly every episode was between 42 and 44 minutes.
You know,
Okay,
I
gotcha.
feel like that's
Which actually annoyed me, and one would be like 36, and it was like, that's fine. I'm all for cutting down things.
Sure.
Netflix has a bloat problem when they do these long episodes.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes, I was just about to say Netflix goes over time, and that usually does not work out for me.
But sometimes it feels like, we'll see if they do it this season, sometimes it feels like there were scenes cut that would have helped this episode, but they were hedging their bets that maybe they might get on broadcast at some point.
Right.
And they need to have a runtime that'll fit.
And now they've accepted that they're not, and they're maybe just embracing it.
Oh, we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. Make the show you make, you know?
Right.
Sure.
They say Sons of Anarchy that killed that show.
Oh, yeah.
FX lets them do that. FX sort of like, if you've been around for a while, they let you make your show as long as you want. And apparently, like, when they gave that right to Sons of Anarchy, it became like a bloated mess.
Well, if this leads to hour-long episodes of Always Sunny, like, I'm okay with that.
Oh my God, give me 2-hour-long episodes of Sunny. Are you kidding me? I could live with those characters forever.
I feel like Charlie Day has kind of, like, earned his place in a Star Trek-type show. Like, I feel like he's done enough genre stuff now that...
Pacific Rim? You're thinking of
Yeah,
Pacific
exactly.
Rim? Yeah, I know.
I think...
Well, even more recently, Hotel Artemis, like,
Right.
he's broken through that wall a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't think CBS All Access wants to pay an actor that much.
I believe that.
Well, I mean, they spend a lot of money on this show.
You
but
can tell.
You can tell.
Which, to their credit, yeah, it's like it's not like getting big names. It's just like making the show.
Yeah, the money's on the
Right.
screen. I appreciate that about it.
Well, the money's also in these first 5 episodes. Arguably, a reason why they fired the old showrunners was that they were going way over budget. Too.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So, and it's a known fact that after episode 5 that they had to pull back and they're going to have to do more character episodes, which I'm actually looking forward to.
I'm into that. Yeah.
Give me more just like Star Trek bridge crew stuff. Like
I know.
we got the name call of all the people on the bridge, which was nice because you didn't get that at all last season.
It was very subtle. Like,
Yeah.
just for anyone who may not know,
Right.
please introduce yourselves.
Right. Well, for those of us that watched last season, it was nice too because these people would show up and they're like, that person looks more interesting than anything else that's going on with this episode. Give me more of that. And then they finally realized.
Right.
That reminds me. At one point when they're, I think it's in the teleporter room, there's a guy with like the Geordie like visor.
Yeah.
But he has like what I can only describe it as like a newsboy cap made of like a disco ball. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
what? Is there?
There's a lot of weird background stuff, like the robot Lieutenant Commander Arium on the bridge.
Who looks like Nebula from Avengers?
Right. She was just a background from most of the first season, and
Really?
people were like, give me, what's the fucking deal with that?
Right. Who is that?
That's kind of funny that like something that just they kind of want to throw is like, oh, this is something just kind of visually interesting for the background. It's like, oh no,
Right.
we want to know
Yeah,
what
I mean,
that
well,
is.
Also, all the canon nerds got really curious about it because this predates Data, so if we have a robot.
Oh right, because like robots are like outlawed or something, or like androids are outlawed or something before
Not
this.
necessarily, but I mean, there's robots in the original series that seem to be like people too, so it's wonky with canon.
Something they fudged maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
But with but Next Generation gets a bug up its ass all the time about Data's positronic brain. So it's like it's weird to have robots that are crew members. Or she's been noted to be an augmented human,
Oh.
which brings up a whole other route of questions from the canon nerds about augments, which is a thing in Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
But I won't.
Are we getting into Deus Ex territory?
Yeah, I won't go over the details because it's just a lot. There's the augment war in the 90s with Khan and stuff.
boy.
So,
Oh yeah, I actually I knew about that because that's in the Kelvin movies. Which
but yeah, it's no time for that.
No, that seems like a whole thing.
yeah, we should talk about the Kelvin movies just for like one episode or something.
Maybe.
Now they capture an asteroid.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
And that's to get the dark matter MacGuffin.
the dark matter that won't teleport.
Right.
And they've got a cool set piece built around that where they have to fly the ship to catch it. But you know what? My question that I had was like, I've seen this probably last season. Don't they just have tractor beams to where they can put stuff in the loading dock? Because that's why you have a loading dock.
Right.
Sure. I could see them like it's the kind of thing where there's like some famous thing. It's like you can't have like people will accept one person breathing on the moon, but you can't have one person breathing on the moon and one person not. And like in this case, I feel like a simple like hand waving thing they do is say, oh well, we can't use a tractor beam on material that hasn't been like the dark
For the
matter.
same reason, like right, if our teleporter won't lock onto it, our tractor beam won't either.
Yeah.
Yeah, just hand wave dialogue, a proud tradition of sci-fi.
Yeah. Just a little bit of sprinkle some techno babble on it. That's what Star Trek's
They do it so often in the show. Like they go.
I know.
It seems like they know everything they do that's absurd, and they have a justification for it, except when they want to back their truck up into an asteroid.
Right, yeah.
That would have been funny if the ship beeped.
It would have been a nice little moment of levity. No one seems to care that guy died.
I know, right?
They seem to have forgotten it, like, as soon as... Like, does Pike run into him at some point? Like, I think...
Oh, his body bounce off?
Yeah, the asteroid hits him, and I think his corpse runs into Pike's ship.
I didn't see it, but I did not notice.
I didn't notice that either. If that happens, that's buck wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a blink and you miss it thing, so I might have misseen it, but...
I think they thought, like, well, I mean, I get the logic of, you know what, we lost one asshole, but we got Tig, Jet Reno, and all her friends that she was keeping alive.
Right.
I can't unhear Janet Reno. Like, it's...
I know, right? It's like, but it's such a boss name, but Janet Reno. It's like, oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
So something to think about, Star Trek writers, when you're naming future characters. Just make sure they're not, like, super close to public figures who got a bad rap of it in the press. Yeah, I don't know. It was a solid hour of television. Like, it looked great. You know, it's got all of the standard, you know, elements of good, you know, space adventure sci-fi. I think we've talked a lot about the various, like, things that kind of remind us of other projects, and it does seem a little bit beholden to that. Like, obviously when it comes to Star Trek, but even, again, like the stuff with the Han Solo references of, like, with Pike. So I think I'm interested to see if that's something that's kind of isolated just to the premiere, or something that kind of carries throughout the show, like, in its DNA.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong with that Han Solo comparison, but I also think
that's just a Star Trek captain thing.
It's also fun-loving adventures with your space friends is what Star Trek's all about.
Sure.
And so, like,
right, like, that's definitely what I think of when I think of Shatner. You know, like, that's
that's
what it seems like. You know, just like, let's go on an exploration, and these are my buddies.
Right. I mean, he even gives a let's not forget to have a little bit of fun. You know?
I hated that sort of, like, mission statement for the season.
Right.
I was like, all right, shut up.
Yeah, in case you weren't aware,
we're gonna enjoy ourselves.
And I do sincerely love the "I promise I'm not evil" speech.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. That was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Can I ask one logistical question that's maybe just, like, something I missed?
Sure.
Where she goes to the Enterprise? Where is the Enterprise?
Okay. At the beginning of the episode, the Enterprise is free floating in space.
Yes.
They give a reason that I'm still a little mixed on. They were en route to investigate one of these red signals, and
it completely, like, turned off their ship.
And it completely turned off their ship, and it's going to take weeks, maybe months, to finish repairs.
Oh, okay.
But why?
Right. Well, how many episodes is the show? 'Cause
Yeah.
I think that's how many weeks it's going to take.
Right.
To finish repairs.
Yeah, I think it's 14 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. That seems right.
And it's just it's another one of those, like, well, we had to have a reason for this to not go anywhere, and here it is. But
right, because otherwise it's like, why doesn't the Enterprise just, like, go along with them?
But when you think about it, it's still a little bit curious.
You know? Oh, absolutely. Well,
he says, like, the Federation sent someone to tow it back to Starfleet.
Oh yeah.
So when she's on it, like, she can just go to it. Like, I
guess they don't have anywhere else they're going at the moment, so they're just following along with the tow job, I guess.
Oh, okay. Right.
And this all tied into, like, when they were all talking about, like, oh, it's the Enterprise. If something, like, took out the Enterprise, this got to be, like, super serious because the Enterprise is fucking awesome. Like, it's just... Yeah. That was a fan service moment I really rolled my eyes at. Like, it just...
Yeah. To be fair, the Enterprise is the flagship of the Federation fleet.
Right.
Oh, really? Okay, so that's not something they shoehorned in.
No, I mean, it's...
I guess I remember that from
It's always been the flagship, but at the same time, it was a little heavy-handed. I'm with you.
Sure.
And then immediately going back, again, it goes back to my making the galaxy seem small. Like, the Star Trek Voyager and Deep Space Nine, such big points of those shows were that they were stretching into different quadrants of the galaxy. Like, they're lost in the Delta Quadrant in Voyager, and Deep Space Nine has a wormhole that opens on the other end of the Gamma Quadrant. And now it's like, oh, we're going to go all over the galaxy to find these 7 signals. And they even have a way to do that they established last season with this weird spore drive.
Oh!
But at the same time, they're decommissioning the spore drive at the beginning of this episode, they say, but then also, and that's why Stamets is leaving the ship to go teach.
All right. Oh, is that what Anthony Rapp was doing?
Yes, yeah, he's
I
a
see.
astromycologist.
Well, sure he is. Why not?
But then they've gone through all this trouble to say we're not using the spore drive anymore, but we know they're going to use the spore drive again because the next on said that your first jump is like that. But
Right.
it lets you go anywhere in the galaxy whenever.
And look, I'm gonna watch the first season. Like, I'm hoping to catch up at least on most of it before the next episode of season 2. But
I'm not.
are you gonna keep? You're gonna like just stay with Steve?
Yeah, no, I'm in. I don't care.
All right, okay. Well, I mean, I'm in too, but like, I'm gonna try to catch up on season 1 relatively quickly.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
But am I to understand that this state of the art spaceship runs on fungus or spores? I guess.
Yes, they're very special. There's a mycelial network that stretches throughout the galaxy and apparently to other universes. It's all kind of trippy-dippy extrapolation based on the actual science work of an actual mycologist named Paul Stamets.
Oh, okay. No, that's fun.
Oh, wait. This is like based on like
Real
real
life.
like theoretical.
Well,
But it's not
yeah,
like-
and
it's
then
not-
he
yeah.
he made a dumb statement one time, like, "Oh, what if it's possible that there's astro space fungus out there that could extend over?" And I was like, oh, "There's probably not, dude." But
Oh, that's very funny.
Brian Fuller took that and extrapolated, and that's one of the technologies that the season is based on. That also the nerds got upset about because, like, so you can just go anywhere all the time, and this is 10 years before the original series. Why doesn't people use
Okay,
it?
good. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I didn't want to like be that guy, but this is a podcast of that guy. I've never heard the words spore drive in any other Star Trek, so like this does not proliferate clearly.
Right. And they've said, the producers have said, oh, we're going to explain why it's not in use. And then at the end of last season, they kind of did, but they just said, oh, yeah, we're just not doing it anymore,
Oh, cool.
which is dumb. And we'll see how they handle it this season. I have a strong guess that the spore drive and the mycelial mushroom stuff is how we get Ricky from My So-Called Life back.
Oh, okay.
Hugh Culber or Wilson Cruz.
Gotcha.
Because he's dead. Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's that.
All right.
But yeah. So I guess final thoughts. You kind of gave us some of yours there, Glenn. You're excited for this, right, Sean?
I'm into it. Yeah, I'm very excited to keep watching. Yeah, that first season, that first episode, I mean, that sold me. On a show that has promise. The showrunner is leaving after episode 5 does not excite me.
Yeah, that's not great.
But a budget cut does. Like it's sort of like my big complaint about Michael does feel like it could be addressed through that. Like I would like more character development as this goes on. I am curious, and maybe like season 1 would answer this question, but like will it do what was that show Fringe? That show Fringe did a good job of like an arc while also having like an episode of the week structure.
Right. Well,
Fringe is great.
Fringe is great.
Fringe is great. And, you know, Alex Kurtzman.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting he's on this
writer
show.
and producer on Fringe, and he's the showrunner that
Oh.
Honestly, I do not like Alex Kurtzman very much. He's the guy that brought us the Dark Universe and the Mummy. With
Oh
Tom
no. Okay. Well
Yes.
then, I mean, I don't either.
Guys, I have Johnny Depp's Invisible Man movie marked on my calendar. Is that not still happening?
I think.
I do not know. You might be disappointed there.
I mean, it might be okay because you know, like you can't even see it. So
Right. So his body of
Zing.
work, like, and my big complaint going through all of a Discovery Home Companion, my paranoid conspiracy theory is that I like to put most of the blame on his shoulders for being like a suit that plays nice with what the suits want, and
Right.
and all these set pieces, because he worked on the Kelvin movies too, which is
I see.
Oh, right. 'Cause
Right.
him and
so my theory was that the conflict of the showrunners having to do what they were the middlemen basically, and that was probably stressful, and they probably took it out on everybody, and they spent too much money. And then Alex Kurtzman is coming in to be the showrunner to clean up after them.
Gotcha. Interesting.
I don't know if I trust him doing the character work
Right.
all that great.
Yeah, is he? I sometimes mix up him and Akiva Goldsmith like regarding like what projects they're on.
Well, Akiva Goldsman...
Not Goldsmith. Thank you.
He was a producer for last season 2, and then he directed like the finale or something.
Oh, so he is involved in the show too, or was it?
He was, and then he also kind of burnt some bridges maybe, but he's also working on the Picard show with Patrick Stewart.
Oh, interesting.
I think he may have burnt some bridges with the writers, but I still think he's buddies with Alex Kurtzman.
Well, one of them works on that like DC original show Titans.
Yes,
and
that's Goldsman.
Yeah, so that's
so hopefully
I'm glad he's not on Discovery anymore.
Hopefully Titans takes up most of his time. And
we'll have plenty of time to talk about this, and I've already talked to y'all about it a little bit, but that show is
I'm not
uneven, but ultimately not worth anyone's time.
It sounds buck wild.
yeah, I've told y'all. Yeah, the trailer, everyone saw.
I'm
the trailer.
not watching it, Glenn.
No, I refuse. But listen, Discovery, I'm in. I'm excited to see what happens, and I am ready to be disappointed. Like I felt that this was like a really promising start, and I know that can truly only lead me to just crying at how bad this show can possibly get.
Right. Well, we'll see. Like, I've been pretty negative on this podcast here, talking about all the things that kind of bugged me. But you know what? Overall, I was here for this episode. It was good fun.
Yeah.
Like, I still worry about how these story pieces are going to fit together.
Yeah.
Because if they fit together like the dialogue does in this, it's not going to be great.
Right, we're in trouble.
But, if I just sit back and I'm along for the ride and I want to have a good time, I'm here. And the bridge crew dynamics and stuff, I'm hoping they do more of that because they didn't do that last season. And I'm pretty sure.
It does seem like we could get some of that. More sneezing aliens in elevators.
That was good. I liked
that. I thought that was just a nice. I'm like, all right. Like, I chuckled. If this show makes me chuckle, then I'm in.
Well, that's kind of the crux of it all, is like they really do have all of the pieces for success. It's just a question of like whether they're gonna be able to kind of put them together, because it's not like, again, there's nothing, even like the writing or whatever, the effects, nothing like glares in the sense of like, oh, this is so terrible, I can't get past this. Like everything is in a good place, at the very least potentially. So yeah, it's just a question of whether they stick the landing.
Yeah, I'm worried about the Spock involvement. I feel like that could derail everything, and I hope it doesn't.
But hopefully, they really do kind of lean into the search aspect, and it really is, they spend 75% of the season looking for him and never coming across him. But I understand realistically, I'm not here for the Spock. Like, it goes back to like, I don't care about how the people I love got to be the people they love. Just give me the people I love. Right. It's the Patton Oswalt school of prequels.
I don't need babies. Wouldn't you like to see him as a kid? It's like, no, I wouldn't. Just the arc. They're going to do the arc of how he became to be just let Spock be Spock, man.
Well, in the Patton Oswalt joke, it's like, oh, do you like ice cream? Well, here's a big bag of rock salt.
Yeah, right. So we'll see how that goes. And I saw Ethan Peck in a bad Netflix Christmas movie, and I never recovered.
I remember you saying that. Which one is he in?
The Magic Advent Calendar one.
Oh my God, my wife watched that one and she told me about it. It's
he's awful on that.
It sounds insane.
I have not seen that one.
But he's hunky?
He's a hunk.
All right, I mean,
he's a hollow wooden hunk as far as I've seen him in anything. I will say, when she played his voicemail when she was snooping through his room, he sounded then really a lot like Leonard Nimoy's Spock, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, he sounds Spocky.
Yeah, I have a worry that falls by the wayside, and sexy, brooding, beardy Spock.
Yeah,
he doesn't look enough like him to me. I think people think he does.
And with Zachary Quinto, I don't think he sounds or even really looks particularly like Leonard Nimoy, but I think he did a really good job with that character, because like it's the same thing with Chris Pine and Kirk. It's like they didn't.
Yeah, I was fine. Really, they made it there.
Yeah, but he's an actor,
Well, yeah, but
like a good one.
Carl Urban did kind of an impression.
God, I love Carl Urban.
Oh, he's the only one that I would have accepted that from. But like he was so great as Bones,
right?
But my understanding is that he was kind of on some level doing an impression of sorry, I don't know the actor's name. Anyway, I'm interested to see what this Spock is like, kind of on that.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, but it's coming. So
I'm not. You're gonna have to do the work. I've already said when they introduce him, he's going to be catatonic and he's going to lash out violently. And given what I saw on this season on, I think I called exactly. He's going to be hysterical, emotional, violent Spock when they get him.
We have to see how he becomes Logical.
Right, which I don't. But all right, I think it's time to start wrapping it up here.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, we've talked for a while.
Well, it's a premiere. We can.
It's a premiere.
Yeah.
And we had to ask a lot of questions.
Yes.
Yep. Thanks so much for having us on, though. This is fun.
Yeah, this is great. I'm very excited to watch more of this show now that I'm paying $6 a month for it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, y'all are a interesting new perspective for a Discovery Home companion, to say the least.
I mean, it sounds like enjoyment is an interesting new perspective for this podcast. So I'm happy to be here.
All right.
Yeah, we'll provide a little contrast.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be most of what we got.
Woo.
Last season, I will give everybody, if you have your own opinions about the show and you want to let us know about it, I'm not sure exactly how we'll be doing voicemails this season. But I'm in it to have fun this time, so I'm not. You'll notice the turnaround on this episode is a little later than we got last season, just because I'm watching the episode, dissolving it, enjoying it, maybe thinking about it, talking with these guys, and then we'll do it. But I would love to hear what you think, so give us a call at 917-408-3898 for the Kickers of Elves hotline number. And check out all the other podcasts that I do with James and Hugh, like The Rules of Acquisition and our book club.
Hashish and Superiority Book Club.
The Hashish and Superiority Book Club, what he said.
I'm your hype man.
Yeah, and for all sorts of other bonus content, you can go to our Patreon at patreon.com/kickersofelves, where James, Hugh, and I have a whole lot of extra audio to listen to, other nerddoms you can hear us complain about Dune for a while, all sorts of things.
You excited for new Dune?
Yeah.
I might be. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, to get full opinions, go to the Patreon.
Sorry, I didn't want to suggest you give it away for free.
He's not saying a goddamn thing until.
Right. No, I mean, there's not. Yeah, I'm interested to see what Denis Villeneuve does for sure.
Do you have like a catchy like sign off?
I don't. Usually Hugh signs us off, and I'm not even gonna tell you with what because.
Oh boy. All right.
Well, I don't know, Sean. You got anything?
Yeah.
I like to put my guests on the spot. For
yeah, I don't know. Tune in next week when we once again boldly go somewhere.
Where we boldly go where CBS charges you $6 a month to watch.
We'll boldly go where you boldly stated. Such.
Boy, this is going really. We could just cut all of this. I
Yeah,
think.
most of it.
Nope. Keep it in.
All right. Anyway, that's all.
Bye,
folks.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
This has been a podcast.
Boop.
Subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher or Caster or Fuckcast or Podsucker. Review us on iTunes. Also grab a bit of fame for yourself by calling us at 917-408-3898 and leaving us a message. We play that shit on air. Or email us at rulesofacquisitionpodcast@gmail.com. Also, listen to our Deep Space Nine podcast Rules of Acquisition. It is pretty amazing, but you may not yet be ready for its awesome amazingness. Assess your personal awesomeness appropriately.